Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear students, I hope that you are safe and sound. We really missed having you in class, and I know for sure that you missed being at school too. So, we are trying to make each lesson as close as it can be for a lesson in the classroom. That's why we will begin our lesson as we usually do in class. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. نبدأ بالفاتحة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Black Beauty, Chapter 5, Joe Green, Part 2. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to 1. Identify the meanings of target words. 2. Identify the major characters in the given part. 3. Tell the major events of the given part. 4. Identify the speakers of the important quotes. Motto: time is precious. Use it wisely. How does this motto apply to your current situation? What do you invest your time in during the quarantine?
I would like you to think for a moment before moving to the next slide about the useful things that you can do in your time at home during the quarantine.
There are various things that you can invest your time in. Reading Quran, preparing simple meals, doing sports, helping at home, reading stories.
The next slide is a review for the previous part of the chapter. So try to say the answers aloud. Then click and check if your answers were correct or not.
Joe Green,
Characters: Joe Green, Dr. White, James, Black Beauty, the Squire, John. Setting: place, Birtwick Park, on the way to and back from the doctor's house. Time: middle of the night. Plot: James felt sad on his last day in Birtwick Park. Little Joe Green was the new stable boy in Birtwick Park after James. One night, John came to the stables and rode Beauty to get a note to Dr. White, because the mistress was very ill. John and Beauty were supposed to rest at the local inn, but Dr. White asked to ride Beauty because his horse was tired. Beauty's journey back to Birtwick Park was difficult, because the doctor was a heavy man and he wasn't a good rider. Joe took Beauty to the stables. He only gave him cold water. Joe didn't put a rug on Beauty because he thought it would make him feel hot. Now, let's begin with the voting activity. On your mini board, write the numbers of the following sentences, then draw an X or a tick next to each sentence.
I would like you to hear each sentence more than once, then you can draw your tick or your X on the mini board.
1. Joe Green's father was a vet. 2. Joe was by Beauty's side when he woke up and gave him warm food to eat. 3. Black Beauty was very ill, that it was very painful for him to breathe. 4. John could never trust Joe after what he did to Beauty. 5. Joe was very angry when the man with the cart was whipping his poor horses. 6. To love the horses is the most important quality in a good stable boy. Keep your answers on the mini board, so you can check them at the end of the class. Now let's learn some new words. 1. Listen to each word more than once, then repeat it. 2. Read the sentences and try to guess the meanings of the underlined words. 3. Check the Arabic meaning for each of the new words. Bricks. The wall was built from red bricks. Vet. The vet examined the ill horse and gave him some medicine. Wheels, stuck, mud. The wheels of the cart were stuck in the mud. Shivered. He shivered from cold, as he was standing outside in the snow. Rude. The rude child shouted at other people. When you reach this slide, stop and study the meanings of the words one more time. Now click on the following link to play a game and test your understanding of the new words and their meanings.
If you are watching the lesson as a video, I'd recommend you to go to the class group and click on the games links to play the games.
It's time to read now, so 1. Listen carefully to each page. 2. Answer the questions and highlight the answers. 3. Check your answers.
When I woke up, John was at my side. I couldn't stand up. John knew how bad I felt. He put 2 thick rugs on me and then gave me some warm food. "Poor Beauty," he whispered. "Joe Green tried his best, but he didn't know what to do. The silly boy has made you ill. He didn't give you a rug, and he only gave you cold water to drink." It was very painful to breathe, and I shivered all the time. John stayed with me and Squire Gordon came to see me. "You saved your mistress's life, Beauty," the squire said, "and now we must save your life." Joe Green's father was a vet. The next day, he came to help John give me some medicine. "Please say something kind to Joe," he said. "He knows he did the wrong thing, and he is very unhappy. But he tried his best, John." "I'll talk kindly to him," said John. "But this horse is my favourite, and he's the master's favourite too. If Black Beauty dies, I will be very upset." The medicine made me fall asleep. I slept for a very long time. When I woke up, I felt much better. Joe learnt quickly, and John began to trust him. One day, the squire told him to put on my saddle and take a note to his friend in another village. On our way back, we saw 2 horses. They were pulling a cart full of heavy bricks. The wheels of the cart were stuck in the mud, and the man with the cart was whipping the horses. Joe jumped off my back and ran up to the man. "Stop it! Stop it!" he cried. "The horses are trying their best, but the wheels are stuck. Let me help you to unload some of the bricks." "Mind your own business, you rude boy!" shouted the man. Then he raised the whip again. Joe was very angry. He jumped on my back and we galloped to the brickmaker's house. "One of your men is whipping your horses," Joe told the brickmaker. "Please go and tell him to stop. He won't listen to me." "Thank you," said the brickmaker. "I hate anyone being cruel to my horses." Then he ran to get his hat. When we got home, Joe told John about the cruel man in the cart. "You did the right thing, Joe," John told him. "You're a good stable boy and you love your horses. That's the most important thing." Joe smiled and patted my neck.
Now, let's mirror the major events.
The best way to do this activity is to follow these steps. First, stop after each sentence. Second, read it silently. Third, mirror the sentence, and you can gesture with your hands too.
1. When Beauty woke up, he was very sick. The squire and John took good care of Beauty and tried to save his life. 2. Joe's father was a vet. He came to help John and he gave Beauty some medicine. 3. The vet asked John to say kind words to Joe, because he was very unhappy about what he did to Beauty. 4. Joe learned quickly and John began to trust him. 5. One day, Joe saw a man with a cart of brick whipping his horses. Joe asked the man to stop and offered to help him. The man shouted at Joe and went on whipping the horses. 6. Joe rode Beauty to the brickmaker's house, and told him about the man who was whipping the horses. 7. The brickmaker thanked Joe, and told him that he hated anyone being cruel to his horses. 8. Joe told John about the incident, and John told him that he was a good stable boy and most importantly, he loved the horses. Now, let's play some games. He was by Beauty's side when he woke up. He began to trust Joe. He told Joe that he was a good stable boy. John. He was Joe's father. He gave Beauty some medicine. He asked John to say kind words to Joe. The vet, who said the following quotes and to whom: "The silly boy has made you ill. And now we must save your life. Mind your own business, you rude boy." I hate anyone being cruel to my horses. Now, click on the following link to play a true or false game.
If you're watching the lesson as a video, I'd recommend you to go to the class group and click on the game link to play the game.
Do you remember the voting activity you did on your mini board? Go ahead and check your answers. 1. Joe Green's father was a vet. 2. Joe was by Beauty's side when he woke up and gave him warm food to eat. 3. Black Beauty was very ill, that it was very painful for him to breathe. 4. John could never trust Joe after what he did to Beauty. 5. Joe was very angry when the man with the cart was whipping his poor horses. 6. To love the horses is the most important quality in a good stable boy. Click on the following link to answer the form's homework for Black Beauty Chapter 5.
You can watch the video by clicking on the link or going to the class group and clicking on the link in the group. I hope that you've enjoyed the lesson, and I hope that we'll get together soon and have classes at our beloved school. See ya!